Manager humiliated a waitress in the bathroom. Not knowing her Navy SEAL husband was nearby, the restaurant was full. Laughter and clinking glasses filling the air. Sarah, a humble waitress, worked tirelessly to make ends meet, her smile hiding exhaustion and quiet dignity. But behind the kitchen doors, her manager, Mr. Collins, was known for his cruelty, always picking on the weakest. That night, he crossed a line he'd regret forever. When Sarah accidentally spilled water on a table, Collins dragged her into the bathroom, hurling insults, threatening to fire her, and tearing down her confidence in front of her co-workers. What neither of them knew, sitting quietly just a few feet away in the corner booth, was Sarah's husband, Jack, a retired Navy SEAL who had seen horrors Collins couldn't imagine. And when Jack heard his wife's muffled sobs echoing from the restroom, something inside him snapped. What happened next would leave the entire restaurant frozen in silence. Sarah was the kind of person who made everyone feel seen. She worked at the Ocean Pearl, a fancy seaside restaurant where wealthy tourists came to dine. Her soft voice and kind manners earned her good tips, but also made her an easy target for her boss, Mr. Collins, a man who believed authority was earned through fear. He would shout at waiters for small mistakes, humiliate staff in front of guests, and make Sarah work double shifts just because she never argued back. Everyone hated him, but no one dared to speak up. They needed the job. Sarah, meanwhile, kept going for one reason: her husband, Jack, a decorated Navy SEAL. Jack had retired after an injury in service. He was her calm after every storm, always reminding her, "You're stronger than you think." That night, the restaurant was packed. Sarah moved fast, her tray loaded with drinks. But as fate would have it, a customer stood abruptly, and the drinks spilled straight onto an expensive dress. Before Sarah could apologize, Collins stormed across the room, his face red, his voice sharp like a whip. "Are you blind, Sarah? You can't even carry a tray." He grabbed her arm roughly, dragging her toward the restroom. Everyone turned away, afraid to interfere. Inside, Collins unleashed his fury. "You're worthless. I should have fired you months ago." He spat, cornering her. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes, but she stayed silent, shaking, humiliated and afraid. She didn't know someone was already on his way. Jack had come to surprise Sarah that night. He sat quietly near the window, watching her work, proud of how she smiled through exhaustion. But then he saw Collins yank her by the arm, and his instincts kicked in instantly. Years of military training taught Jack patience: observe, assess, then act. But hearing Sarah's soft sobs through the restroom door made his blood boil. He stood up slowly. The diners noticed his presence immediately, tall, calm, a presence that commanded attention. Without a word, he walked toward the restroom, each step deliberate. As he pushed the door open, he saw Collins towering over Sarah, his face twisted with rage. "Is there a problem here?" Jack asked quietly, his voice deep and steady. Collins turned, sneering, "This is employee business. Stay out of it." Jack stepped closer, his expression unreadable. "That employee happens to be my wife." The color drained from Collins's face. For a moment, silence filled the room, broken only by the dripping faucet. Jack's calmness was more terrifying than any shout. He looked at Sarah, then back at the manager. "You ever touch her again, or speak to her like that, you'll answer to me." Collins stammered, I didn't mean." But Jack interrupted. "Apologize." "I'm sorry." Collins mumbled, trembling. Louder, Jack said, "I'm sorry." Collins barked, nearly shaking. Jack took Sarah's hand and led her out, the entire restaurant staring in awe. But this was far from over. Jack wasn't done yet. The next morning, Sarah tried to convince Jack to let it go. "It's just a job," she whispered. But Jack shook his head. "No one gets to treat you like that." Without telling her, he reached out to the restaurant's owner, a retired veteran himself. Jack calmly explained everything that had happened, providing security footage from the dining area, which showed Collins's aggression. Within hours, the owner arrived at the restaurant unannounced. He called a staff meeting. Collins stood there, sweating. "Mr. Collins," the owner said coldly, "I saw the footage. You're done here." Applause erupted from the staff. Sarah stood speechless, relief washing over her. The owner turned to her and said, "Sarah, we should have seen your strength sooner. You've got a new role, head waitress, if you'll take it." Tears filled her eyes. That night, when Jack came to pick her up, the entire staff clapped for her. Collins was gone, and for the first time, Sarah felt free. As they walked to their car, she looked up at Jack and smiled softly. "You didn't have to do all that." Jack kissed her forehead and said, "You've fought for everyone else your whole life. It was my turn to fight for you." And as they drove away, the glow of the restaurant lights faded behind them, replaced by something brighter: dignity, love, and justice finally served. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes standing up for the ones you love isn't about shouting, it's about doing what's right, even in silence.